Hey everybody, it is Monday, November the 3rd. I always forget the date, 2025. And a couple things. I know I hadn't posted in a while about my weight loss journey, but it's been a stall for like 4 or 5 months. And I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of stress and the food noise is come back. In the last 4 or 5 months I've been battling with that. So I'm at 279, and I should be about 250 by now, but that's okay. I mean, I keep fighting. But the real reason why I was making this video is because of the food stamp thing. As some of you may know, I have a part-time job in a retail establishment that sells a limited amount of groceries. Okay, and I mean limited, but there is enough groceries in there that they sell that you can make a decent meal. Okay, so it's the end of the night. It's a Saturday. This lady come in talking real loud, just going on about stamps and everything. Caucasian lady. I don't know, she sounded like she was mentally unstable. I could be wrong, but she seemed to be mentally unstable. She come in screaming like, I don't know if my stamp's gonna be on here, but we're gonna try it anyway. And I had two other ladies in the line with me, and we were discussing about that when she was going towards the back. And I said, well, from what I understand, nobody's getting any renewals right now, number one. And number two, if you have any on there, you would know it because they roll over from month to month. So you would still have whatever you haven't finished from the previous month. And we were talking about how we had been on it. And yes, I've been on stamps. One time in my life, I was on stamps for 3 months when my son was born. And during that time period, I don't know if it changed, but during that time period, you had to go up there like every 3 months. And I was working full time. It was a lot going on in my life. I had a family member pass away. I was going through a divorce. I was pregnant. I had to move cross country. It was a lot. So I was rebuilding my life during this time period, but I'm working. Now, it wasn't a great job, but it's easy to get a job when you got a job. Wasn't the best job. Absolutely hated the job. It was a horrible place to work. It's no longer in business anymore for a reason. But during that time period, I got the stamps for 3 months. I got stamps. I got cash. And it was like $130 for each. And it was really just enough to pay for his formula because the boy went down. I was nursing him, but it still had to be supplemented somewhat. But I only did it for 3 months because they made you go in there and re-up every 3 months. You had to go in there and recertify every 3 months. And I don't know if you've ever been in those offices, but once you get in there, you're in there a good 5, 6, 7 hours. I mean, it's a whole day. And because they're slow, and I'm like, that's something I didn't want to do. And so I said, well, you know what? Let me just enjoy and be thankful for the 3 months I did get as much formula as I can. And then I still was getting WIC at that point. And that's before they turned WIC into income based. WIC never used to be income based, but then they switched it. So then I got to where I couldn't. It was a couple of years later when I was finally getting on my feet and got a better job that I no longer qualified. And mind you, I wasn't making that much. This is like 2014, 15. I was making maybe $14 an hour. So it wasn't that much, but I didn't qualify for the WIC, which, like I said, I don't think I got on WIC was this formula. I didn't even care about the rest of the stuff. It's just that boy used to kill 5, 6 bottles, and I needed the WIC. Anyway, so I'm working, talking to these ladies about the stamps thing. We talking about our experience with it and how we were on that long. And one lady said she was on it the same amount of time I was. She was on there for just 3 months. And so I checked them out. They left. And then the lady who was screaming when she come to the door, she comes up to the register and she says, well, I don't know if this gonna work. I know we need to have some stamps. Oh, gotta eat, and they need to feed us. Just going on and on. I'm just looking at this lady. I'm bringing it up. Now, mind you, what she's getting it's not something that you would need to make a meal. Because you're talking about, I gotta feed kids and all this stuff. Okay, well, what you bought, what you were attempting to buy was not groceries. It was junk. So what she got was a bag of popcorn, some crackers with meat and cheese, and it was some kind of candy. I can't remember what it was right now. But I'm thinking that's not a meal for anybody. That's just snacks. I mean, we sell meat, which is funny because I didn't even know that till yesterday. Before she came in, somebody used the FSA card to get, not FSA card, excuse me, their insurance card that they get the money on every month. They got some ground beef. I was like, I didn't even realize we had ground beef because I don't normally stock that area, so I had no idea we even had it. And he had got like 2 pounds of ground beef. Like, wow, okay. So saying that, there's stuff back there. I mean, we have yogurt, cheese, milk, eggs, all that kind of staple stuff. So it's not like that we didn't have anything that if you really need to cook a meal that you couldn't get, But this is the stuff she chose. And so she's sitting there fussing about, oh, this, Trump that. I'm like, okay, it really, whatever. You don't have it. They already said they weren't going to renew it because the government is shut down. And so she's fussing. I'm ringing it up. She running the car through. And she said, don't call the police on me, but I'm taking this because I got to feed myself. We got to eat. And they need to feed us. And so she just snatches the bag and don't call the police on me. And then runs out. She ain't run. She walks out the store and she says, because she got to scream the last F Trump as on her way out. So I'm standing there, I'm not going to fight this lady, okay? I'm not fighting grown people over stuff that ain't mine. But it's so silly that these are the people that say they absolutely need stamps. But yet, this is what you're buying. Because if my thing is, if I absolutely need something to eat, I'm not going to buy junk. So my thing is, apparently you didn't really need it because you didn't even buy no real food with it. You bought a bunch of processed garbage with it. And it was like $18 worth of stuff. It was 3 items, $18. But then you just bought junk. I mean, if you really needed food, I wouldn't even be tripping right now. I probably wouldn't even be doing this video if you were doing like meat, milk, cheese, stuff like that. No, you came in here and got some junk. So it's hard to feel sorry for people. And I know it's not everybody. Please do not get this twisted. I know it's not everybody. But unfortunately, in where I grew up and where I live now, you see these people that just buy junk food. I'm in the store and see them with carts full of just junk. Potato chips and sodas and, just a bunch of stuff. And then they complain about not being fed. Like, you ain't fed yourself. All you eating is processed junk. Where's the real food? I don't see not a fruit, not a vegetable, nothing in there. The only thing, you see some crab legs and some steaks, but they ain't buying nothing of substance. A bunch of junk. And then don't even get me started on most of them that's selling it. Like, you walk in the store and somebody accosting you to you paying with cash? You paying with cash? Because, and they say that, they're trying to get you to buy some stamps. I don't know. I feel sorry for the people that really need it, people that are physically disabled, people who can't work, people who are older and retired, that are on a limited income, that can't work. I understand that. But it's too many people on it that shouldn't be. People who are not citizens, people who can work, who don't work. It's too many of that. And it shouldn't be a lifelong thing. I remember when Clinton was in office that I thought they had passed a law that says there was a 2-year limit on it. Well, apparently there's not, because I know some people that's been on this since I was in high school. You talking about 30 years of being on government assistance. I mean, at what point do you be able to support yourself? What point do you try to do stuff on your own? How do you always got your hand out? It's supposed to be a hand up, not a hand out. Like, when does it end? I mean, cradle to grave, it's not what it's meant to be. I don't know. I'm not trying to be cold. I see people doing that. I've seen the videos online of people snatching and just walking out the stores with carts, and it's not, I don't know. It's not right. It's not right. I think people just need to reevaluate their life. When it's that bad, when you got to when you got to depend on it that much for just long periods of time, and then the ones that keep having kids. It's like you couldn't take care of the first one. Now you're gonna have 2, 3, 4, 5 more kids, expecting everybody else to raise them and to feed them and clothe them and stuff. Anyway, I didn't want this to come off harsh. I may not even post this video because I don't want to be, I don't know if I'm gonna post this. I love y'all. Help each other when you can. Help yourself. And most importantly, lean on the Lord. If Jesus said if he'll feed the birds, how much more will he take care of you? People spout, verses and go to church and churching. If you really believe what the Bible says, then God said he's going to provide, he's going to provide. I can't tell you how many times I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And just stuff come out of nowhere. So, just believe. Anyway, bye.